Maintaining a reputation often comes with a literal price tag. Imagine holding a massive fortune, knowing that dropping it to the bottom of the ocean is the only way to save your good name. In the 9th century, renowned scholar Imam al-Bukhari traveled across the sea on an isolated ship. He carried a leather pouch containing 1,000 gold dinars. This ancient gold dinar was the standard currency of the early Islamic world. 1,000 of these coins represented immense wealth, possessing the purchasing power to acquire several large farming estates. For most men, a fortune of this scale dictates power. For a scholar like Bukhari, his personal credibility served as his primary currency. During the voyage, Bukhari mentioned the pouch of gold to a fellow passenger. He didn't notice the shift in the man's demeanor, as a quiet, calculating greed took root. The next morning, the passenger burst onto the deck in a sudden panic, claiming someone had stolen his life savings, exactly 1,000 gold dinars. The captain immediately locked down the vessel. With no escape, the crew announced an exhaustive search of every passenger on board. The trap relied on a fatal coincidence. If the crew found the gold on Bukhari, the exact match would serve as evidence of theft. If he tried to hide the pouch and was caught, the act would look like an admission of guilt. Even if Bukhari could eventually prove the money was his, the initial accusation and resulting trial would plant a permanent seed of doubt about his character. The snare worked because the physical proof of his innocence, his own money, was indistinguishable from the evidence of the alleged crime. The crew moved methodically down the line of passengers, turning bags inside out and scouring every corner of the wooden deck. The accuser watched the process with anticipation. He knew exactly what Bukhari was carrying and waited for the crew to pull the heavy leather pouch into the light. When the captain reached Imam al-Bukhari, the scholar stood perfectly calm, completely unbothered by the search, while the passengers around him grew anxious. The crew aggressively checked his belongings and his robes. They found nothing. The search concluded without a thief. The accuser stood there shocked, watching his plan to frame the scholar evaporate. The trap failed because the physical bait, the massive sum of gold, had simply vanished from the ship. Under the cover of darkness, the baffled accuser privately cornered Bukhari. He demanded to know what had happened to the 1,000 dinars. Bukhari admitted the truth easily. Before the search reached him, he had quietly slipped the pouch over the rail and dropped his entire fortune into the sea. This calligraphy represents the meticulous nature of Bukhari's life's work. He dedicated his years to authenticating hadith, the recorded sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad. This field relies on strict narrator authentication. Scholars track the character and memory of every person who passes down a quote. A single confirmed lie or a shadow of a doubt about a narrator's honesty invalidates their entire academic contribution. If Bukhari had allowed the crew to find the gold, the resulting rumor of theft would have attached itself to his name. That rumor alone would permanently disqualify his historical transmissions. Bukhari's decision to discard the pouch provided a rational, calculated defense of his academic standing. The accuser was left speechless. He realized the limit of his greed when faced with a man committed to historical preservation. This towering minaret in Bukhara symbolizes his enduring legacy. The physical gold remains on the ocean floor, but Bukhari's reputation survived for over a millennium. Bukhari demonstrated that integrity is an active defense, requiring difficult and physical sacrifices to maintain. Protecting a legacy of truth often demands immediate sacrifices. The actual price of integrity is whatever it costs to eliminate doubt from the public record. A reputation for absolute truth creates a value that physical wealth cannot match. Gold can be stolen or lost to the tides, but integrity only disappears when the owner chooses to abandon it. Back on the ship, Bukhari remained entirely at peace with his decision, despite the massive financial loss he had just incurred. He understood that wealth can be regained through labor or trade. Trust, however, is fragile and permanent once broken. Those 1,000 gold dinars likely still rest at the bottom of the sea today, marking the literal price paid for an unshakable name. It forces us to consider a core premise. When a trap is sprung and your character is on the line, what are you willing to throw overboard to protect your integrity?